All right, everybody. How are we doing tonight? How is everybody? Let's do an audio and visual check. I was sick. I got to sleep in, everybody. I finally got more than like 4 hours of sleep. I'm getting a lot better anyway. So that's a positive sign when I could start to sleep. Sound good and look better? Yeah, I feel better. I got some hot chocolate over here. Yeah, I still feel like crap. A lot less like crap, but not as bad as what I have been. It's just this cough. This cough won't go away. Yeah, I'm still number one. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota. Welcome to Slow Markets. I just typed in our top step risk disclosure. We're going to be talking about the live markets. You can see there behind me. Anything that I say is for educational purposes only. Yeah, let's see if we can get through tonight. I still have a pretty bad cough. It just won't go away, and it's frustrating the hell out of me. I feel good. A whole lot better, but this cough just won't go away. So if you guys have any advice, I've tried just about everything. I went to the doctors already twice this week. Same thing. They just said, hey, get over it. I mean, the only time I talk is 1 hour every day for this. Toro honey. Yeah, that's what this is. This is hot chocolate with honey. So I've been that. Jose, long Nikkei. I am long Nikkei. And we'll go over it and we'll talk about it. Buckwheat honey. Oh, man. Ice baths. I used to take a lot of ice baths. I haven't taken an ice bath for a long time. But, yeah, I have lots of medicines here. Let's get into it. Today was an amazing day for the markets. I don't want to say I've seen it coming, but this is something that I was planning for yesterday. If you guys can remember, I have the daily chart. This is the daily chart on the NASDAQ in front of me. Guess what? We did start to break up higher, just as I don't want to say as I was expecting, but yeah, this is kind of what I was looking for. Going into today with all of the amazing earnings and this whole week finally coming to a point. We have big news tomorrow. We will see. This news tomorrow can definitely drive us right back down to the lows, or maybe we get up to these highs and do we break above it? Like that is the question. So we're in the middle. We essentially have a range. We did break above yesterday and the day before during FOMC's high. But these are the two areas that I am going to be watching tomorrow. I do have a little bit of a bias, and I do think that if tomorrow's non-farm, or if we get any bit of good news in terms of inflation, we are looking to come up and at least test these highs, if not maybe make a run and break above that and start looking at that 18,000 level. So that's what I'm looking at. Today we did have a great bounce, great green day. And if we start to zoom in, let's go here. Here is an hourly chart on the NASDAQ. And we kind of see what we were looking at, right? If you remember what we were reviewing yesterday, where we were making these higher lows, we kind of got faked out a little bit here. Fortunately, I was sleeping, and I didn't trade any of this morning. And, this essentially held. We went right back up. We're above, or at least we were above the FOMC meeting high. And so it looks like we're just going to be going up to the right, unless the news tomorrow puts a damp on it. I mean, it's hard to see us not going up and seeing these highs that we were at prior to FOMC. So that's my game plan going into tomorrow. Me and Coach Jay will be on for fast markets tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm looking at these markets too for the first time. So it might take me a minute. I'm just going to be going through these individual charts. And if you guys do have questions, like I always say, send them into this chat. If I don't get to them, we have an amazing moderator team who's going to be feeding me some of the questions, right? So anyway, let's talk about the trade that I actually do have on. Let me cover crude oil, and then we'll cover gold, and then we'll talk about the trade. So crude oil, guys, we are holding $79 a barrel. This is good news for traders who are looking to buy crude oil. Essentially, this was strong resistance, right? This is what we were looking at. And this resistance is becoming support. And so I think what I am going to watch for is a breakout and a break above. Because I do think that we could break up and break above and maybe see $80 a barrel again. This is a very nice reversal pattern, the way that I see this, because essentially, right, this is a very solid reversal pattern, and we're already starting to break. This is an hourly chart on crude oil. If we do start to break above, then the next area is going to be basically $80 a barrel, and if we break above that, then 80.35. So I'm still a crude bull. I still believe that we could start rallying, higher, get back above the $80 a barrel. We've had a really ugly sell-off for the past 2-3 weeks. But yeah, I think we're starting to find some support. And this is essentially the same zone that it took us, a very long time to break out of. It took us almost a month to break out and above. So I definitely understand and see why there is a lot of resistance here, or a lot of support. It used to be a lot of resistance. Now there's a lot of support. Let me continue to zoom in. So yeah, for crude oil, I'm just going to be looking to buy crude. Essentially what I might set up, this is a 60-minute chart. What I will look for is a pullback and then a continuation. Or do I dare say a continuation? Maybe this is just considered a breakout, right? And so if we start to zoom in on the 5-minute chart, we could kind of see it a little bit better, right? We had this double bottom this morning on crude oil during the New York session. Here's the double bottom. We had the nice breakout above these highs. We had a pullback, and we're starting to push. And essentially, when we're looking at this is a flagging pattern. And don't mind my charts. Like I said, I'm seeing the markets for the first time, and I'm just really thinking and talking out loud my thought process. So this is what I'm looking at, and I'm looking for a break above this. I'm looking for a break above this $79.40 or $79.40 level here in crude. But I do know that crude likes to hunt stops before it breaks in the direction. So I very much would like to see crude oil to sell off, run some stops, and then rally and make a run for the $80 a barrel. So let's get to some questions. Then we'll go to gold, and then I will talk about a Nikkei trade. Dakota, have you ever thought about trying to trade auction market theory? I feel like you could become an amazing profile reader. Strange love trades. I've looked at it a little bit, but for me, this has been just something I'm used to, and it's always worked for me. And essentially, if it's not broke, I don't try and force myself to do anything else. But I have looked into it. I've actually, it feels like I've looked into almost everything. There's so much that we could learn about the markets. I mean, you could find someone online somewhere, or some book somewhere that has their own opinion on how to view these markets. There's so many different ways to view different markets and different theories. And Yeah, auction market theory is one that I did take a little bit of a look. I didn't dive in depth about it. But for me, this is the most simplest way to view these different types of markets. And it's, for me, what works for me. And I'm hoping that I'm able to show you guys, hopefully it works for you, right? Ed Ags, do I ever trade gold during slow markets? Yeah, we're going to be going over gold in just a moment, guys. I look at NASDAQ, crude oil, the Nikkei, which is the Japanese market, and gold. Let's talk about, let me kind of backpedal a little bit. I want to talk about a trade. I had one trade today on NASDAQ. So here's the NASDAQ. I made, let me just pull it up 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second. I'm pulling up my dashboard. And I made about $10,000 today. Let's see if it's updated. So I'm at a new high water mark in my live account. I made $10,000 today on basically one trade, and I wanted to go over it. Let's see if I could find it on my... I just want to make sure it's updated, and I could show it over here on Ninja. So if we start to zoom in, and it was basically, guys, you can imagine what the trade was. You know what direction I like to trade. You know exactly, and you could only imagine what that trade was. So anyway, here on the 60-minute chart, I was kind of going over what direction I believe and I went over my analysis last night with Coach Jay, right, where I was looking to buy the NASDAQ. I did sleep in, so I was asleep during the market open, but typically I like to watch the 5-minute chart. So I woke up about here. Like, this is when I was awake. I woke up about here. And so I just sat down and I took a shower and I took my Dayquil and got ready. And I viewed the markets right here. This is where we were. And the way that I was viewing the markets this morning was we were making higher, pretty simple and straightforward. I had a bullish bias, right, that we could go and we could push higher. And we were making higher lows. And we were also making higher highs. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to look, and you guys know my amazing, whatever, I like to joke with Andre. And I know it could be a joke, but to some extent, I was serious, right? Where do I buy this market? I want to buy this market. Where do I buy it? And so, I was waiting. Sure enough, we did get this pullback, and I ended up buying it. So what I did, let me see. Let me switch to let's go here. I don't want to switch to the account, and it'll show you the executions. But anyway, I did end up buying 6 contracts. No, I think it was like 4 contracts here. So I ended up buying 4 contracts at like 5.14. I'm not sure. I did, let everybody in the YouTube chat know. And so I did buy about 4 or 5 contracts here. My stop loss, I was looking at either having a stop loss, right? I think my original stop loss was down here, but it was about 3 or 4 contracts. Here's my stop loss. We got a nice rally. We did end up pushing back down, and I bought up to 9 contracts. So my total was 9 contracts when we did push down right around 17,500. So I kept my stop loss the same, and I had a total of 9 contracts. I think originally it was 7. Someone says 7 lots. So total, it was 9 contracts. Let me see. Maybe I could just go like this. I'm going to pull up my live account. My memory absolutely sucks. Okay, my live account is loading. It takes it a minute to load. Let me clean this chart up a little bit. And I don't know why I closed my trade early. I closed this trade early. Oh, there we go. I think it just loaded. So anyway, there's my executions. Let's see if it will show it up. Yeah, so there's the executions. You can see them right here. That's where I was getting in. I was building up to 9 contracts. This is with my funded account here at Topstep. Because once you go through the process, and maybe this is something good that I could just briefly talk about. Once you get into a live account, then you could work with the risk managers and expand your daily loss limit and your parameters. So this is my live account here at Topstep. But yeah, I started getting into this position here. My stop loss was down here. As soon as we started to sell off, I added to this position. I should have been a little bit more patient and just added more here as my original. But I'm okay with this trade. I wanted to get, this is a total of 9 contracts. I was kind of I was wanting to get into 12, but this happened just so fast. I couldn't get into my last 3 contracts. And then as you can see, I closed them out early. Unfortunately, I closed these out early, man. I was so frustrated with myself. I was happy because it 10,000, right? But I closed it out early because I was thinking, you know what? We had a chance to get to 600. I was thinking 600. We started to show some hesitation here. First, I closed out a portion of them, which that's what I wanted to do, right around resistance, and I was fine with this. But the second one, I was like, okay, I'm going to close it out here, and we started to show some resistance up here. I'm like, I'm just going to close it out. I'm fine. Here's $10,000, and I'm going to be done for the day. Because this happened, I don't want to say fast, but it was just one trade, right? And then I could wait for a pullback and get in. And you can't get upset with yourself for being, up $10,000 for a day. And I think that was it. I should have practiced what I preach, and what I always like to say is I always want to keep a runner on. And maybe if I was feeling better and I was a little more focused, I would have kept a runner on. And I know I'm being a little more conservative because the fact that I'm not feeling good is something where I'm like, oh, I better see profit, take profit. And that's it. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Do you have any questions on this? Because, yeah, this was my one main trade. I had a couple scalps near the end of the session on this little pullback. That was not really a big deal. It was only one or 2 contracts for 10 points. But this was the main trade. Why did I enter? So the reason why I entered was I asked myself, and I was saying, where do I buy this market, right? And sure enough, we sold off, and we were coming right down at this support. And that was why, because we were at support. Because this was resistance, we broke out, resistance became support, and I was looking for support to become support again, and for us to continue up higher. Like that was why. I go over that's all that was to it. There is no secret. There's nothing else. I didn't miss. I mean, if I was awake earlier, I definitely know I would have got in here, and I would have made some money on this trade, and then of course this trade here. So I probably could have had a much better day if I would have woke up on time, but I needed the sleep. I really did. Let's see. And then sure enough, we had it was Apple earnings, right? Apple earnings came out after the bell, and we are just going up and to the right, guys. This is quite the rally. We're up here, and we're actually sitting up above the FOMC minute high. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just kind of continue to drift higher. Where would you have entered if you would have woken up earlier? I mean, it's hindsight trading, but if I would have woken up, I almost guarantee I would have got in on this pullback somewhere, because it's pretty much the same trade. It's identical. These are copy paste trades. Pullback, continuation, pullback, continuation. So I don't know exactly how because it's hindsight, but most likely it would have been around here somewhere. Anyway, let me switch back, and then we'll take a look at gold. Then we'll take a look at gold. Okay, gold. Last night, Coach Jay and I both had a bearish view on gold. And man, did that gold trade just not work out amazingly? I didn't take it. Of course, we always wish we would have after the fact. But yeah, that was one heck of a gold trade. Coach Jay and I both were looking at gold. And that's what we were seeing. And we're like, this, we've rallied up. Support becomes resistance. Sure enough, this was a nice support zone for gold. We sold off. We rallied back up into that zone. And that resistance, right? That's as straightforward as it goes. Coach Jay, you never did get your entry, huh? What were you looking for as your entry, Coach Jay? Let me know. I'm curious. Oh. Somewhere closer to 2350. Oh, up here. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, I was tempted to take it last night during class, but yeah, I don't know why I didn't. Just being hands off, I guess, and being sick. I've been a lot less aggressive trading since I haven't been feeling the best. But that was a great trade. Tonight we're in the middle, and I don't want to place any trades. I don't even think an analysis would be worth my time because we're right in the middle. And when we're in the middle, the risk reward is crappy. The direction, we're kind of in the middle. Which direction is it going to go? I don't know. This is just a messy area to be for gold. I would much rather us be near the bottom of this range or up higher. But if there is a direction, obviously, the current trend is down. So I would much have a bias of us continuing down in this direction of the trend. But gold's not in an area that I want to place a trade in it. So I'm going to pass. Yeah, solid pass from me. Piddle in the middle. Diddle in the middle. Dakota, when are you switching to TopstepX? Ooh, that is the question, guys. That is the question. So, yeah, JT, I've been pounding the zinc and vitamin C. I'm pumped full of zinc and vitamin C. Trust me. But that is the question. Dakota, when is Coach Dakota switching to TopstepX? So I have been in a Combine account. I've been practicing it. I was told by the team that I should start practicing it more because there's going to be a really big announcement on Monday. And I was like, well, what's the announcement? And they wouldn't really give me too much of the details. And they invited me to be on in the morning. So I will be on TopstepTV Monday morning with yeah, so I'm going to be trading. I'm going to be practicing more on TopstepX, getting used to it. And yeah, so I'm excited. If you guys are going to be joining me in the morning, of course I'll be in the morning tomorrow morning. So I'll be on TopstepTV tomorrow morning, and then I'll be on TopstepTV on Monday morning. But yeah, it sounds like there's going to be something big. I don't know if MP's back. I haven't been following up to date on behind the scenes at Topstep, so I don't know too much in terms of what's going on. Just that they invited me on Monday, and usually they don't invite me to something unless it's like something big. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they finally find someone that no, I'm not going down that road. I don't know, guys. Like I said, I do not know. I can only take guesses, and I just don't think it would be appropriate for me to guess because I'm gonna find out just like you guys. MP mentioned something big today, Richard. I don't think Richard. What MP wasn't on TopstepTV, was he today? I didn't see him. Or was it on some type of a social media? Oh, he was in chat. MP was in chat. Was MP trying to troll? Or did he finally give up? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm excited for the Top Step Trading League. That's what I'm excited for. That's what I've been practicing. Top Step Trading League. That's what I've been practicing for. That's what I've been getting ready for. And that's what I'm wanting. I'm excited. Next time I see MP, I'm going to ask him questions about that, obviously. Lemon honey tea and a shot of whiskey. Toby, I know I sound horrible. Okay, I know. Okay, let's get to some more questions and we'll talk about Nikkei. I have Nikkei right here. Japanese market. Let's see. What you see on Nikkei, we holding at 3,800. Is Nikkei setting up for a sell-off? I remember you saying your win rate was really low, but it seems like it's actually high. Yeah, Adrian. So my win rate is typically very low. I've adjusted my trading a little bit. I've been taking profit a bit quicker, and I've adjusted my trading, and my win rate this past month has been higher than normal, which is good. But typically on slow markets, my win rate is really low. My win rate during the New York session is typically a little bit higher. Why you average down? So, and I'm guessing this is a question. Why do you average down? And you're referring to that NASDAQ trade. Was because I had built a preset position size. I wanted to get into 9 contracts in that zone on the NASDAQ, on this pullback. So if we pull up the NASDAQ again, and I just want to beat this over and over and over again because it's so important. Now, I talk about it all the time. There's a difference between averaging down, building a position, or just adding a trade that's going against you. So I had this zone because this is support, right? This is the candlestick I was looking at. This is where I'm looking at support. I wanted to build a position in this zone around 17,500 to 17,15. So this zone of 9 contracts. So I got into some here, and I think I went through this a little bit before. So sometimes what I do is like I'll buy some here, here, and then here. And I kind of make it as a zone, right? Because we don't know exactly where it's going to reverse, because the market could come and, maybe come down here and then reverse, or come down only here and reverse, or all the way down to here and reverse. We don't know exactly. So sometimes I like to watch the market, and then this is just an example of I want to get into 9 contracts in this zone if the market allows it. The market allowed it. I wanted to get into 12 contracts, but I only got into 9 because this happens really, really quick. So I only got into 9. If it continued to consolidate here anymore, I probably would have got into 3 more. And yeah, that was me, I guess, building a position for a single trade. So you could call it averaging down. I don't know. I mean, there's always a gray area between, was that an average down? Was that building a position? What was that? I had my risk limit because my stop loss was here. I don't know. However you want to call it, that's what it was. Anyway, back to Nikkei. Let me switch to my live account and we'll talk about this a little bit more. Let's see here. Hey, Coach Dakota, could you do an example to how to put an OCO order on the panel of a Ninja Trader? Thanks. Feel better. I will have to do it in a moment. Okay. Anyway, here's the one trade I have going on. It's not a big one. I'm not feeling 100% confident. Essentially, one contract. There's nothing more, nothing else. Just one contract right here. Oh, there we go. So the way I'm looking at Nikkei is I'm not 100% sure. That's why I'm only in one contract. But this was some support back on April 26th. Of course, support on pretty much the beginning of the week. And we've kind of just held this, right? And we had the U.S. markets. The U.S. markets rallied, obviously. You could see switching back at the NASDAQ. This is a huge rally. We also had some amazing earnings from Apple, and we're continuing to push highs. So I'm looking at a lot of this green and positive momentum and all these buyers coming in, that we have a decent chance for the Nikkei to push and maybe see 38,200s and come back up into this zone. I could be wrong. We'll see. I don't know. We're kind of in the middle. I got a bad entry for this. I, of course, would have much rather waited to get in at a cheaper price. But essentially what I was looking at was we had this nice little bounce, right? We had this nice bounce and we pulled back, and guess what? This was resistance. This was the resistance right here. We broke out of the resistance. We came back down to the resistance. I got triggered in. My stop loss was down here. And yeah, and while I'm here, I better make sure I have a stop loss. So that's what I'm looking at, is for us to maybe just find a way to get up higher. This is a cheap trade, one contract, very small, only risking like $300-400 on this. And this is something I'm going to hold overnight to see if we could get a lot of positive momentum and see if the Asian markets and London markets could follow the U.S. markets today. We'll see. I thought the earning limit per person across any and all XFAs were 50,000. Are you going to be denied receiving any excess? Harvey Gordon, yeah, I would ask support about an earning limit. I do know that there's a limit before when they switch your XFAs to live, and the risk managers are watching that. I have been getting stopped out of moves that eventually go in my direction. How much wiggle room do you try and give resistant zone? You try and enter in. Sorry, you sound like gargle gravel. This is a great question. So we run into this a lot, guys. And I know you do. I do it. And sometimes when we place a trade, how do we know how much room to give the market before, for example, pretty much where do we put our stop loss? And the way I understand that is traders, myself included, sometimes we get stopped out. If this was my stop loss and I got triggered in here, it would have stopped me out, and then it would have went in my direction. This is one of the most hardest things to know, is where do I put my stop loss, right? I like to have my stop loss below, major support or resistance. So of course, here is less likely to get stopped out than here. Here is less likely to get stopped out than here. It really is up to where you and your personal risk parameters are. It's very hard to say this is exactly how much you should be putting your stop loss, because it really is a case-by-case basis, depending on how you trade, what type of market you are trading. I would just say make sure you're putting your stop loss to where you can do it consistently and be able to measure it, right? Because if I'm consistently putting my stop loss below the pivots that I see, then after, say, a month or 2 months or a period of time, I could review my trades and say, okay, I'm getting stopped out way too much, and then the market's going in my direction. Then if I move my stop loss, say, an extra 4 ticks, then my results would have been a lot different. So for the next 2-3 months, I'm going to move my stop loss an extra 3 or 4 ticks, and then I'll see how my results are. So I think that's a great way to at least practice, and it's something that I am recommending, and I will always recommend traders, is make sure you find a way to measure something and then do it consistent enough and with enough sample size. So not just like a day, not just a week, but for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then you could measure it. And then you could go back through your trading and say, should this be where my stop loss is? Am I putting a good stop loss on my trades? And then you could answer that yourself, right? Maybe you have too tight of stop loss. Maybe you have too loose. Maybe the market's more volatile and your stop loss is just too tight for how volatile the markets are. It's very hard to determine how much wiggle room. For me, maybe this could be something. Here's what I used to do, guys. Let me give you guys a little secret. It's not a secret, but this is what I used to do, and this is what helped me for a little bit. Let me switch to the NASDAQ because this is what helped me a lot in trading. Oh, okay. Hot chocolate tastes so good. Okay, this is what helped me a lot. If you're starting on something very simple, a simple ATR, average true range, add that to my chart. Bam, there we go. So this helped me a lot, if you believe it or not. Average true range, it's one of the first indicators that to me helped. King, yeah, that's what happens when you feels like it. So average true range, guys. I'm not recommending this as an indicator, but I'm just telling you, if you are struggling with where to put your stop loss, or if you're getting stopped out a lot, I strongly recommend, because I don't want to recommend an indicator, but I just want to give you guys an example of what's helped me. An average true range, it measures obviously the average true range of the past 14 bars. So as you could see here, so let's say when I got into this trade, when I got in the trade here, okay, this is where I got in the trade. At the time I got in the trade, the average true range was 27 points. And so what I used to do, and what helped me a lot, was whatever the average true range was, I would put my stop loss there. I'd say, I would want my stop loss 1.5 ATRs. And then if I got triggered in at, say, I want to do easy math. So let's go at 5:15. Oh man, wrong button. Say I got triggered in 17,515. The average true range is, let's say, 27 points. So I would do 27 points from my entry, which would be, pretty dang close. 1.5 ATRs. So whatever 1.5 ATRs. So I'm being honest. This is exactly how I used to trade until I started to get used to it. So if my entry was at 17,515 and the average true range was at 27, then it's saying my stop loss would be at 17,488. So this is where my stop loss would be. So this is how I used to trade using an average true range. And what this means is it says on average, when the market moves for these candlesticks at this period in time, that is typically the range. And so I actually used to use this as a stop loss, and then I used to use it as a take profit. And I experimented with what if I use 1.5 ATR for my stop loss, which would be like here, and then maybe a 2 ATR for my take profit. So that is what I used to, and it helped me a lot understand what a good stop loss is. Yeah, I'm just saying, The 24 is from right here, right? If I go back to where I entered the trade, it was at 27, right? So where I entered the trade right here at 27. So this helped me a lot just because the markets are always changing, right? And so the volatility changes. Average true range is a measure of volatility, and you should definitely change your stop loss depending on how market conditions are. Because, yeah, look how much market conditions change. I don't know if you guys could see this very well, but market conditions change a lot depending on time of day, depending on the market. Let me see if I could change this a little bit. It's not letting me make it zoom out. Oh, here we go. That's better. Okay, there we go. So I made this is a little more dramatic, but you can see the difference, right? So at the beginning, during the market open, you can see the volatility starts to increase. And when volatility increased, then I would make sure that my stop loss was increasing. And just because my stop loss is increasing, that also means that I'm not trading as big, which also means I should be, if I'm used to trading 3 contracts, maybe during periods of this high volatility, I was only trading 1 contract. And then, of course, we have the lunch, like right around lunchtime, the volatility starts to slow down. And then right during the close, volatility starts to peak. Then now here we are during the Asian session, volatility is very, very low. And having a 27-point stop loss, if you're scalping, is extreme, right? So that's the way I used to, I guess, have my stop loss, and it helped me put it in perspective that having a hard stop loss of the exact same amount was just not the right way to go, because the markets change, volatility changes. I need to change my stop loss and take profits. It needs to change as well. I hope that makes sense to you guys. That was a little bit long. Yeah, there we go. That's that. When I started doing this, it taught me how to scale down as well. Got to be able to stomach the stop. Yes, 100%. So when you do that, you not only need to use it as like, hey, if the volatility is going up, I need to have a wider stop loss. It also means you might need a smaller position size. So yeah, if you have 3 contracts and then the volatility starts to increase and your stop loss increases as well, you should only use maybe 1 contract or 2 contracts. So scaling down when volatility increases is very, very helpful. Just because you have a wider stop loss does not mean you should risk more. So for example, this is my stop loss. If I was to increase my stop loss like this, my risk is being increased, right? But if the volatility starts to decrease and maybe I move my stop loss up here, then I could be okay with trading 2 contracts because my stop loss is tighter. And so my risk is the same, but my stop loss is, wider or shorter. I could probably do a whole class, and maybe I do that. Let me actually do a poll. I'm going to do a poll to see would you guys want a whole entire class of how Dakota does his stop losses based off of ATR, because I'm curious. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I'm just curious because it's a lot more elaborate than that, guys. It's not as simple as me just saying, okay, I'm just going to do this for an hour. Oh. Okay, I heard during fast markets, you all talking boy UTSMT? What is it and how do you use it? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you guys see that poll? Did the poll come up at all? Let me see. There you go. The polls are working now. Let's see here. Okay. Maybe what I could do, I'll have to double check with Danielle and the team, is next week, because we got a lot of people wanting to do this. Next week, maybe I have a 2-hour class where the first hour is my regular slow markets, and then I just do a 30-minute ATR class. Because I don't want to interrupt slow markets. Slow markets is my thing. But I think it might be fair if I extend class an extra 15 minutes or 30 minutes and cover the ATR and go over that. Danielle, I will never stop you from going over. Well, I think you guys got your answer right there. Danielle just answered it. Also, my time, guys. My time is important to me. I of course need to be feeling a lot better and take us all the way to the London Open. I don't have grass, unfortunately. We just do a 24-hour session with Dakota. We trade the Asian, then we'll trade the London Open, then we'll trade the New York session. We'll just trade it all. We'll do a 24-hour marathon, or 24 hours. We'll do a 1-hour prep while the markets are closed, and then we'll just do 23 hours of just trading, and we'll see how much money we make. And we could watch Netflix together, and that would be something else. That would be, yeah, we'll have a couple bottles of, it wouldn't be NyQuil, it'll have to be DayQuil, and energy drinks. Okay, yeah, I mean, we got 87. Okay, well, I might try and plan it next week. I'll let you guys know. It'd be kind of a sleepover at Dakota's house. Yeah. No, Scott, I never did make it camping. I was supposed to go camping this weekend, but Friday night I had a fever of 102 degrees and felt miserable ever since. So I never did get to go camping. Marcos, a London session would be amazing. That is something I plan on working out. Like I said, slow markets has only been going for 2 months, guys. This has only been 2 months for slow markets. We've built an amazing audience, guys. And it's been just trying to get into a good rhythm, a good system. But I definitely see little things like where I could go 30 minutes over and I could do a lesson on ATRs. Even though I might not use it now, it was something that was very important to me when I was learning where to put my stop losses, like I just went over. And it was very important. I think it could be very useful for you guys. It could be something that you guys could also use, as well as maybe London Open, because we have, and this is an international company, and we have traders from around the world, and very much that traders that are in London and overseas that might not be able to catch Topstep TV or slow markets would absolutely love someone to trade with during a London session. I don't know if it would be consistent, but maybe it could be once a month we do a London session. It'll have to be once I start feeling better, though. But other than that, this market's been dead. Not much is going on. Well, that's not true. NASDAQ's pushing higher. I think we just grind higher. I think the NASDAQ just continues to grind higher. I mean, essentially it's just risk on. Apple earnings. This has been an amazing earnings season. And if it wasn't for all the drama of inflation, we might be at all-time highs. Tomorrow, I'm going to be looking for a very green day tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow during the New York session. It's a bank. Yeah, I think it's a bank holiday in Japan. Let me make sure. A lot of times I just use Forex Factory to look. Yeah, it's a Bank of Japan holiday, Chinese bank holiday. It really is a slow market tonight. I might just move my stop to break even. Right under that pivot. Let me zoom in and I can see that. Pete, I've seen the doctor. The doctor says, deal with it. That's all the doctor said. He said it will pass. Drink lots of liquids. NyQuil, DayQuil. TopstepX has the newest integrated in the Trainers Hub. TopstepX is amazing, guys. Doctor says. Okay, I think I'm going to end it here, everybody. It's a short session. So that's it. I'm going to just move my stop loss to there, 9:15. I'm going to call it good, and I'm going to let this run overnight. I'm going to go get some rest. I have fast markets tomorrow morning. Me and Coach Jay, we're going to be working with Andre. We're going to see if we can get a trade in the house account. Last time, Coach Jay and I, we were just trying to chase the market. It was great trading. If we would have got a few more executions, it would have been a lot better. We'll see how tomorrow is. I think we're starting to get into a rhythm. The house account's starting to get polished up in terms of the process, how it's being traded. Things are starting to look a lot better. I love what TopStep's doing with the house account. You guys get to see exactly the emotions involved with making decisions and fun. It's been great. So other than that, guys, take care. I will see you in the morning.